Now loading.
A construction worker executes the vision and strategy of an architect to develop buildings and spaces. Combining the creativity, strategy, and vision of architects with the stamina, strength, problem-solving, mechanical ability, and resilience of construction workers can transform communities, enhancing experiences, and changing the way we interact with each other. There's truly power in this collaboration, mainly because there's a common goal that both parties have. There's a similarity between a football manager's interaction with their players during a game and an architect's interaction with construction workers during a live project. The stronger the communication between the two parties, the greater the understanding and execution. When you think of it from this perspective, construction workers should be looked at as architectural athletes who are working on site, performing physical movements when developing buildings and spaces. And I see this as their version of a football pitch, executing the tactics and plays assigned by the architects, with the tactics and plays being drawings, specifications, blueprints, 3D models, and more. This also includes the communication of things like the budget and the timeline of the project. A football manager in the dugout or on the bench is able to watch the match and assess the performance of their players, which provides a good perspective of the game. However, when football managers are standing up and positioned on the sideline, they're able to get a much closer look into the progress being made by their players, with the opportunity to provide some insights and gain key feedback from the players. In a similar way, for architects, their dugout or bench is them working in their offices where they're able to receive updates via images, emails, text messages, video messages, as well as scheduled video calls from the construction team, which is an efficient way for both parties to communicate and have regular progress check-ins. But when architects have site visits, it's almost like them leaving their dugout and stepping up to the sideline and getting a better view of the action, where they can develop a stronger understanding of the specific progress being made, making sure that the construction is in line with the design and quality standards that they've set. And so they're able to provide the construction workers with any important adjustments that may need to be made in order to make sure that the project is on schedule within the timeline. Similar to a football manager and their players, sometimes the initial tactics and play set need some adjustments. And so it's important for architects and construction workers to be flexible. Sometimes designs need to be adjusted based on site conditions or construction limitations. The relationship between architects and construction workers is a partnership built on great communication, mutual respect, and the ability for both parties to learn from each other's expertise and processes. When it comes to the relationship between Japanese architects and construction workers, Japan's cultural and historical values are at the core of everything, where craftsmanship and attention to detail are priorities in their work. A Japanese architect's role within a construction project is to create the vision, concept, and design of buildings, prioritizing aesthetically pleasing looks with functionality, bringing disruptive ideas and artistic elements to the construction projects. Japanese architects tend to also incorporate minimalism and harmony with nature into their designs, which represent traditional philosophies and elements that they live and breathe. Japanese construction workers have exceptional skills and precision, bringing the architect's vision to life through their high-quality work processes and practices. They also provide the architects with feedback on the feasibility of their designs to make sure that the project is not only beautiful to look at, but also structurally great and practical to build and develop. It's clear that Japanese architects and construction workers have a great mutual respect for each other and what they both bring to the table within a project. With the foundation of this working relationship being built on values like minimalism and attention to detail, there's a sense of pride amongst the Japanese construction workers during each workday. as they're representing the vision of the architect. Similar to a footballer willing to go all out and perform at their best for their manager, where there's a mutual belief in each other in terms of what they can both accomplish. Those are the footballers that are willing to run through a brick wall, metaphorically, for their manager. Japanese construction workers have a similar dynamic with Japanese architects. I feel like Japanese construction workers are aware of the significance that the buildings and spaces that they're developing are going to transform communities and impact lives, inspiring people to explore life in different ways. And I'm sure that they know that they're playing a big part in that. In some ways, that makes them cultural superstars because they're willing to do things that many others within the community aren't willing to do, and that's to build the community up. So in many ways, they're also superheroes. The Japanese construction workers put in a lot of physical work and grind during their work days. They usually start the day doing some form of warm-up exercises together, and this resembles the culture of a great sports team. It's also important that they warm up their muscles to avoid injury. Whether it's the National Stadium that was created for the Tokyo 2020 Olympics, the Sumida Hokusai Museum dedicated to the famous artist Katsushika Hokusai, the Japanese construction workers were able to provide the community with a preview of these buildings during the period when they were under construction, increasing the anticipation amongst both the local and wider community for its completion, kickstarting the connection that people in the community have with the building during its development, where they were likely preparing themselves for when it becomes available and imagining how their community would feel like once it's available and once they could finally experience it. And that's the bridge that these Japanese workers have been able to create for the everyday person in Japan. During the process of these buildings and spaces being developed, people are able to see the stylish work uniform of these construction workers on display, making them superstars and influencers of the community in their own right, making them fashion icons of the community in their own right. The construction workers are putting in a lot of work and sweat during their work days. With all the physical work that the Japanese construction workers do, their work uniform is designed to complement this. Wearing knickerbocker, which are baggy trousers, these trousers naturally catch your eye, bulging outward below the knee and becoming narrower around the ankles. The trousers are an adaptation of the knickerbockers that were worn by early Dutch settlers in New York, which went on to become fashionable. The name knickerbocker was inspired by the name knickerbockers. The loose trousers provide comfort for construction site work where workers are constantly standing and squatting. For high-rise Toby workers who spend a big part of their workday climbing up and down scaffoldings, the knickerbocker comes in extremely handy. Keeping these trousers tight at the hem prevents workers from catching on equipment or tools and ultimately preventing injuries from happening. The baggy material makes sure that the Toby workers are aware of strong winds and even help them to identify the direction of the wind. The trousers are almost like an extension of the workers' sense of touch, ensuring that there isn't anything dangerous sticking out around their feet in small spaces. There are situations where the knickerbocker trousers have slowed down the impact of falls by catching the wind like the flaps of skin used by squirrels. The extra fabric of the trousers serves various functions on the construction site. It creates maneuverability whilst moving swiftly around scaffolding, making construction workers agile and providing protection from sparks. They're agile athletes on site. Japanese construction workers have embraced the trousers becoming wider and longer over time to embrace the bold style, a combination of functionality and style. I feel like the Japanese construction workers over time have wanted the work uniform to make them look good, feel good, and I feel like they just wanted to become more and more stylish, and this probably made the intense work that more digestible and enjoyable. They also wear jikatabi footwear along with the knickerbocker trousers. The Jikatabi footwear is very sturdy. The rubber sole means that there's more grip, and construction workers have more of an awareness of what is under their feet. They are super popular amongst workers working in areas with scaffolding and other high places. Jikatabi shoes enable an increase in toe strength and can lower knee and back pain because of the flat surface that exists from the toe to the heel. I feel like these Jikatabi shoes are all about allowing the person to be comfortable with the ground and being as close to the ground as possible. These construction workers tend to wear the knickerbocker trousers and Jikatabi shoes with a long sleeve top, a t-shirt, shirt, or even a bomber jacket depending on the weather conditions. Not only are these Japanese construction workers transforming communities with the buildings and facilities that they develop, but they're also inspiring fashion styles. The balloon shape of the knickerbocker trousers are looked at as a perfect match for many anime characters. In Japan, in particular, elements of this Japanese construction worker look is adopted as everyday wear amongst people that live there. The trousers have grown in following amongst streetwear fans, inspiring brands and designers like Yohji, Yamamoto, and Dubtaps. With a lot of workwear, the workwear items tend to transcend its original purpose of functionality and stability, becoming part of someone's lifestyle and becoming stylish amongst the everyday person who isn't really doing construction work or physical based work. You always need someone to sell the experience of a product, and that's what the Japanese construction workers have provided to the everyday person when it comes to the knickerbocker trousers and Jikatabi shoes. They've helped the DNA of these items cross over into lifestyle fashion indirectly. Honorable mentions of endorsers of the Jikatabi shoe style includes farmers, gardeners, and soldiers. Tokujiro Ishibashi and Shojiro Ishibashi, who founded tire company Bridgestone, are credited as the inventors of the Jikatabi shoe, which was intended for outdoor use. Maison Margiela introduced his Jikatabi inspired boot in his 1988 collection. This had a toe split design but also had an elevated heel. Nike Air Rifts debuted in 1996 and were inspired by the Jikatabi shoe, exploring the barefoot shoe experience, and this included the split toe silhouette with the addition of straps, air cushioning, and an anatomical outsole. They furthered the possibilities of the split toe shoe being worn during sports performance, and these were designed for runners who wanted to run without a regular shoe. Vetements have explored the Jikatabi philosophy through their sock shoes. In recent times, the looks connected to Kanye's Yeezy Pods, which are the sock shoes, definitely live in a similar world style-wise as the looks of Japanese construction workers during their workday. The Yeezy Pods don't have a split toe design, but they still live in the same world as the Jikatabi shoe. All of these examples have embraced the Jikatabi barefoot philosophy, which is shoes that provide the closest connection to the ground, developing stronger toe and overall foot strength. Japanese construction workers over several decades have been the main endorsers of the Jikatabi shoes due to their increased flexibility and grip that they provide. Japanese construction workers impact communities through the buildings that they make, but also by doing it in style, influencing fashion as a result. They are multi-hyphenates. They operate almost like a sports team, doing exercise rituals together before they start work. They represent not only architecture, but also promote practical and functional fashion and embody the level of teamwork that would be seen within great sports teams. How crazy is it that the work uniform that these Japanese construction workers wear whilst developing these beautiful buildings and spaces can influence the fashion style of the everyday person in Japan and beyond?